Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's, end of June is going well. You're joined with myself, Tom, and Tamara for this version of Pulse. Jen is actually, I think, enjoying some time off, so you're just stuck with the three of us today.
Yes.
So we wanted to go through all the updates for this week for the Office 365 roadmap. It's actually a fairly light week as updates go. Just as a friendly reminder, we're going to be covering technically four sections. In development means that they've added it to the roadmap. It's coming eventually. They normally put an estimated date on there. Whether or not they hit it, it's kind of hard to tell. Rolling out basically means it's in the process of going through the release cycles, as you guys have probably heard us talk about before. There's first release, there's the various versions that you go through. You can opt in how you want to do your tenant. Rolling out means it's going through that cycle in some way, shape, or form, and ultimately coming out. Launch means it should be live for everyone, and then finally everyone can probably figure out what canceled means. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Like I said, this is basically the last week of June, but yeah, we'll go ahead and start. I guess, Tamara, you want to start us off? Is there anything in development you wanted to talk about?
Sure. In Microsoft Teams, there's a new policy to prevent the upload of profile pictures for GCC customers. This means that Teams is going to honor the Outlook on the web mailbox policy setting that can control whether users are able to change their own profile pictures. So this applies to GCC, GCC High, and DoD tenants. So they can actually choose what picture goes in there for you and prevent you from changing it. So I think this is something that's going to come into play, like around the military and stuff like that, and having the pictures be the same.
I know for sure. When you first read it, you're kind of like, well, that's not fun. There it is, blocking pictures. But I know a lot of organizations that do that for obvious reasons. So makes sense. Tom, anything you wanted to grab?
I'm going to go ahead and stick with the whole Teams theme that we've got here. Microsoft Teams virtual breakout rooms. I know this has been a hot topic, highly requested. And what they're going to have is meeting hosts can create breakout rooms in a larger meeting. Those can be used by participants for smaller discussions. They can assign the participants to the room and then basically call them back into the large room when the breakouts are complete. I think that's really going to help to allow you to have larger meetings, almost conference style. It's like, hey, here's the meeting for everybody, and now we're all going to go off to our little rooms for 30 minutes, and then we're going to come back and discuss. In the whole COVID time right now, especially with COVID blowing back up again, we're going to be working from home for a while, so I think this is a really critical thing. It says Q4 of 2020. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw it a little faster, though, because I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on that one.
Sure. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that too. It definitely seems like something that would be valuable, just easy add-on. So I agree. Cool update to see. I have a security one I'm eventually going to talk about, but do either of you guys want to talk about anything else as well?
I'll do one more because this is kind of my world. SharePoint lists and libraries. Renaming the title column in a view. They're going to be making that to where you can change the title field column and have that name change appear consistently in grid views, quick edit, associated view, and edit forms. That's really nice because title's that default thing that people are going to click on, but a lot of times just to see title sitting there, like, what's a title? I like the idea that we're going to be able to put a column that is actually relevant name-wise out there and have it actually stick and show in all the different views. So
sure. Tamara, you have anything else you wanted to mention?
The only other thing I wanted to mention is that OneDrive, they've got OneDrive Sync Help pane on Mac now. It's kind of hard to get to. They've buried it. So you've got to go to the Activity Center and then go through Help and Settings menu, and the option to select is Get Help. So it's buried pretty far in there, but now you can actually get help with the OneDrive Sync Help pane.
Yeah, and basically directly in the client itself, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Hopefully makes it a little bit more self-service, a little bit easier for people to get stuff going on, which is nice to see. So I'm sure to none of the surprise of Tom and Tamara, I wanted to talk about some new reporting features they have coming out to advance threat protection.
Shocked. Color is shocked.
I know, right? Basically, they have 6 new alerts that are going to be coming out. This is in an effort to just make the Office 365 Security Compliance Center and the alerts focus there more relevant. All of the new alerts that are coming out are going to be related to phishing attempts or malware attempts and stuff like that, which is nice to see if you use Exchange Online Protection as your frontline defense. Going through and having advanced threat protection to look on top of some of the stuff as well is nice to see. And as I'm sure you guys know, all of us in the IT world typically are way understaffed. So having automated things that go through and detect threats and let you know, hey, you might want to action on this is a very nice thing to have. They're also doing some stuff about enriching alert APIs and some stuff you're doing your own custom stuff. But the main new update that you're seeing there is, like I said, 6 new alerts that didn't exist previously related to malware and phishing stuff. That's all for me. Did you guys have anything else in the development you wanted to mention?
That was pretty
Nope, I'm good.
All right, cool. We'll keep this bus rolling. Pun not intended. Moving on to rolling out. And I'll go ahead and let Tom start this one out for us.
Okay, so I'm going to take the first big one that I saw on the list, and that is the Teams Outlook email integrations. So I know we've probably talked about this in the past, but in a more in development thing. Now it should be in the rolling out stage because it was supposed to be Q1 of CY 2020. But basically what this is going to do is give us 3 new features. You can share email to Teams. So you can share an email from Outlook, including any attachments to a channel or chat in Teams, which is really great if you've got something that should be discussed on a wider basis, but you don't want to start another email thread with 14 other people and get all the replies in reply alls. So you can move that to Teams now. You can also share a conversation via email. So if you have a Teams conversation that's going on, maybe one of the people who really should chime in isn't into Teams all that much, you can send them a copy of the conversation and say, hey, you might want to join right now because we've got some stuff going on. And then the final one is reply to missed activity emails. See the latest messages and respond to Teams missed activity emails from within Outlook. So I think all of those things are nice because as much as we're like, hey, you can live in Teams, we're also living in Outlook. Come on. So being able to have good interaction between those two, I think takes a lot of the strain of being able to bounce back and forth. And here you're just going to be able to make it a lot easier to get from side A to side B without having to do complete total context shifts.
Sure. Tamara?
Outlook for Android. 2 things going on with that. Visual cues for work and personal accounts. So it provides clear visual cues across email and calendar experience when in either your work or personal accounts so that emails and events are always created from the correct account. And then the other thing they're doing is they're keeping your work and personal contacts separated so that they don't intermix. I think this makes it easy to make sure that you're emailing the right people in the right email addresses. So I'm glad they've done this whole personal visual cue. To me, that's great because it looks the same in the environment. So it's nice to have that visual cue.
Sure. The one I'll mention, and I'm not sure I fully understand what this is. I have a good idea, but I guess I'm going to have to wait to see it comes out to my tenant to actually tell. So they said that they're enabling admins to be able to manage storage limits for OneDrive-enabled users in the Microsoft Office 365 Admin Center. What I think this means, historically, all you could do through the GUI of the Admin Center is set the default storage for user quota. So you can go in there and say, oh, I want to give my users 5 terabytes of space or 1 terabyte of space or whatever. And this is always kind of interesting because if you had a client who had an old enough system of when they provisioned and the OneDrive was 1 terabyte of space, well, then all their users would be on 1 terabyte of space. You'd say, oh, well, you could increase it up to 5, but the legacy users' default storage wouldn't increase. It would only do it for new users. You'd have to basically go into PowerShell and for each individual user bump that storage limit up. How I read this is that you'll be able to manage it per user on their storage limit in OneDrive. Now, I could see this being valuable. I specifically have worked with a lot of customers that don't want to put a whole bunch of crap up into the cloud. Part of what they're doing is, hey, we're going to use this process of us going to Microsoft 365 as a cleanup. We're going to have pretty strict retention policies of what we do. But a lot of them say, hey, I don't want my users to be putting a whole bunch of junk up there that we are then theoretically liable to keep. And one of the ways that you could theoretically manage this is through OneDrive storage. And so maybe based on the user's role inside of your organization, oh, well, this person is a frontline worker. They're not doing office work. We're only going to give them 100 megabytes of OneDrive OneDrive space versus, oh, this is an office worker, they need more room, or this is, our C-level staff, they want all the room, whatever it is. And I kind of read that as you're going to be able to micromanage it user by user. I hope that's what it is, because right now, if I wanted to do that, I could, but I'd have to do it through PowerShell scripting. So I guess we'll just have to see when that one comes out.
Sounds cool.
All right.
I only
Anything
see
else?
one more.
Yeah,
Only
go
one
ahead.
more that I'm going to throw out there. For Microsoft To Do will now allow you to share lists from personal to work accounts. So much like I've started using my work calendar to have everything on there because it syncs with my phone, and why not have it just in one place? Now, if you're really into To Do and having all your stuff in there, you're going to be able to have your personal To Do like you might already have, but you're also going to be able to share that with work. And so once again, it's getting to where you've got one place to go for work and personal stuff, if you're so inclined to want to do that, without having to bounce back and forth and shift accounts and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's good for those who like to just be able to see everything in one point because their life's pretty integrated as it is.
Is there anything else for you, Tamara? I think I'm good.
No, I'm good with rolling out.
All right, cool. Moving on to launch, and Tamara, you can go ahead and take us away.
Visio now has a tab in Microsoft Teams. So to make it easier to collaborate with Visio diagrams within Teams, an even better experience, the Visio as a tab helps you easily access and manage Visio files that you need or interact with most. So I think it's great that Visio will be right at your fingertips, because for some projects, it's very, very important to have those diagrams available and available quickly.
Tom?
Yeah, the launch, there's, of course, launch is always like this. It's like, yeah, we've talked about a lot of these things before, and we've gone into a little bit more depth on a lot of them. So I'm just going to hit like 2 or 3 right here real quick. One, if you didn't know, in Microsoft Stream, you can now quickly create videos by doing screen captures with your mic, your webcam. They can be like 10 or 15 minutes long. I don't remember what it is. It's also allowing you to like edit the front and the back end to clear off dead space and stuff like that, upload directly into Stream. Pretty cool stuff. If you haven't tried that and you're used to putting together short little training videos or demonstrations, definitely check that out. Audience targeting and site navigation, that is really cool. They had audience targeting for web parts on a page that you could turn on, and then you could put in like up to 10 active directory groups to say, hey, if you're one of these groups, you'll see the web part, otherwise you won't. They've now also expanded that into site navigation. So your left side site navigation, also the header and the footer have some of that in there now too. So if you want to start saying, hey, employees can see this link, but we don't want contractors to. If you have that split out in an AD group, you're going to be able to do that kind of stuff. Just keep in mind, it's filtering, not security. If somebody had the link to whatever you had up there and they were a contractor, they can still launch that link. And if they have access, they're going to go to it. It's just what filters out on the page. And then the last one that's really cool, and I hope I never catch one of my users doing this, OneDrive Teams file upload now is 100 gigabytes. So instead of having a 15 gig file limit in terms of a single file being uploaded, it can be up to 100 gig now. I did see a recommendation on this though. While you can do this, you might want to be very careful and take into account how you load this up. So if you're doing it to SharePoint or OneDrive, they recommend that you use the sync client and you actually put it out on the local version of that particular folder or whatever in your sync client, and then let it upload from there instead of you sitting there and watching it going update for however long it takes.
Suddenly your office can't work and no one knows why.
Pretty much. It's like, well, Bob's over there watching the spinning wheel of death. But yeah, you can now go up to 100 gig on a particular file, which, given the amount of space they give us, that's probably a good thing. And for people who do CAD drawings and stuff, yeah, you're probably over 15 gig on stuff. So that's a good thing.
Sure. The one thing I saw that I thought was really cool was Safe Documents is now available worldwide. We've talked about this before off and on, but the idea of Safe Documents is basically Microsoft is going to use machine learning and intelligence to basically go through and look for threats on documents. So if people have embedded things in there, or things that will, could necessarily be harmful to users, they are going to develop a system that goes through and looks at this for you. So that way users don't have to worry about that. All they have to worry about is doing their own work. And this is one of the cool neural networks where everything's connected, where if I go through and I open up a document that had a threat and Microsoft identifies it, the next time Tom goes through and opens up a document, even though we're in different organizations, he's going to have the benefit of the learning that happened whenever it was going through and reviewing mine. So all tied together throughout the Microsoft ecosystem. So pretty cool concept. Again, I don't want to harp on safe documents too much. We've talked about it before, but those should be now available as of this month. So nice to see. Cool. Tamara?
I think it's pretty neat that you're able to copy a plan within an existing group or teams, and you're even able to select what should be copied over from the original plan. So it's really a tailored experience.
Yeah, we've had people request that. It's like, well, I've set up this great planner for my project and I want to apply it to every project that I have. Well, good. You better take really good notes about what you set up and how you did it, where now they're going to be able to put that template out there and just copy it over and have a nice starting spot. So I'm liking that one.
I definitely like this too. I actually thought of you when I read this one, Tom. Noise suppression in stream videos, and not in a bad way. Like, I just know you like stream. I thought it was a cool feature that came out. You guys all know we have those coworkers, right, where they go through and talk, and you can hear like the airplanes flying overhead, or you can hear their kids in the background or whatever.
Barking.
Yeah, basically, Microsoft is putting in tools that after the video is recorded and uploaded to stream, it will do noise suppression of what it considers background information. So take out those kids streaming, take out those airplanes in the background, and so you can really focus on the speaker. And I think that's just kind of cool, and I figured that was something you'd be excited about just because I know you like stream, Tom. And it's one of those things that was just kind of nice, and it's cool to see that. Again, I see this as a real win in the COVID area. I'm sure more people are using stream than had ever really planned on it before because they're recording meetings and stuff like that. And having this as a throw it up there and let Microsoft basically improve the video for you automatically is kind of nice to see.
Yeah, I'm thinking very seriously about setting up a short meeting with my coworker and basically saying, okay, I'm going to record this and I'm turning on the air conditioner. We're going to talk for 2 or 3 minutes. Then I'm going to listen back. And if you can't hear the air conditioner, I'm never turning that sucker off during the summer. That's just all there is to it.
Anything else anyone wants to mention inside of launch?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I'll give a quick shout out. There's one that talks about pinning apps in Microsoft Teams, where you should be able to do this in more locations. Only reason I'm giving this a shout out, one of my clients, we had a ticket open for like 3 months where this feature wasn't working properly. And we just kind of got the generic response from Microsoft that, hey, we know shit's broken, but we don't have the bandwidth with everything going on with coronavirus right now. So they eventually did fix that. And I think that that's in line with this update that you're seeing here too. So nice to see that. So we have 2 canceled that I'll kind of look at. Team sharing integration with Onedrive. Basically, this feature is going to be included somewhere else, so don't worry about it. It's not really removed. It's just moved into another section. And then SharePoint News notification configuration, which is configure personal email notification settings for SharePoint News updates. This item has basically been delayed, so they're taking it off of the roadmap. You'll probably eventually see it, but just because they don't have a date for when they're expecting to roll it out, they didn't want to just keep postponing it. So instead, it's temporarily leaving the roadmap, but they say rather specifically it will be back, so don't worry. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know the 3 of us enjoyed having you. We'll hopefully be back with the full team next week. Stay safe, stay home, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys in the future.
Wear your masks.
Bye. Have a good one.